Hello, everyone. This is Joey Davenport, president of the Hoopus Performance Network. We appreciate your patience. We had a slight delay up front and ready to get kicked off with our 2020 HPN University virtual campus tour. I'm excited that you all are joining us here today. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. So let me just take a moment and walk you through the agenda for the virtual campus tour over the next few days. First of all, on Tuesday, October the 13th, which is today, a few things you're going to see today. First of all, this morning from 11 to 11:45 Central, I'm going to cover the latest trends in learning and development. Hopefully these will be some great things that you'll pick up, as many of you are talent developers and in that role. And so we have some of the most recent trends from the 2020 LinkedIn Learning Workplace Study. And then I'm going to provide you with an overview to set the stage of the HPN University. We're going to take a 15-minute break. And after that, Melissa Peck and Maureen Mahoney from our team is going to deep dive into driving engagement within your learning management system. We're going to talk about some specific strategies we've developed over the last 12 years here at the Hoopus Performance Network, and hopefully provide you with some ideas on how to engage learners, advisors, and managers into your learning management system, and share with you some specific things we have within the university. Then on Thursday, October the 15th, in just a couple of days, from 11 to 11:45 Central, Melissa Peck, our Director of Client Services, has been with us for about 11 years, is going to share enterprise onboarding best practices, process, resources, and more. So this is a deeper dive when we start to get into the nitty-gritty of, okay, so now what? How easy or difficult is it to implement and integrate the HPN University into our learning management system? What kind of resources do you provide to make this more seamless? And Melissa and the team have a ton of experience in this area, and hopefully you'll pick up on some nuggets for the future when you're integrating even other third-party content providers or resources. And then finally, I'm honored to lead a panel discussion from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock Central, which will be our concluding general session, executive panel discussion, where you'll hear from three of your peers, two of your peers and one field leader, talking about how they have implemented and executed the HPN University in their organization. The rollout, best practices, things that they learned along the way. And we even have a field leader, and I know a number of you are from Canada. We have one of the top regional directors in Canada, Jay McMahon, who's going to be sharing how he used the university as a consultant or advisor, as a frontline manager, in the home office as an executive, and now back in the field as a regional director, or what we would call managing partner. So a full lineup with these 4 general sessions. And before I kick off today, I want to turn it over to our CEO, Harry Hoopus, who wanted to set the stage and would provide you all with just his thoughts and some insights as we kick off the campus tour. Harry?
Thank you, Joey. And welcome, everyone. And thank you for taking the time to be with us today for our first ever HPN University virtual campus tour. You know, with all the bad things that have resulted from COVID-19, we consider ourselves fortunate to be able to conduct a virtual tour of our university for you today. In just a few short months, the Hoopus Performance Network will celebrate 12 years of delivering world-class training to our profession. We will also be celebrating 144 consecutive months of producing new digital learning content for our university, each and every month. In fact, many clients have said, if all a subscriber were to do was look at the new content every month, it would be well worth the price of admission. That string of new content has produced approximately 1,000 videos that cover every aspect of what we do in the financial services profession. But that is why you came today, to learn more about what HPN University offers and why over 60 companies in 20+ countries use HPN to supplement their proprietary training materials. All of you in the training field know how expensive producing video is. Estimates range from $800 per finished minute to over $1,500 per finished minute. Using the former number, we value our content at over $4 million. We have nearly 500 videos in Spanish now. The number of French-Canadian videos are rapidly growing to support our many Canadian clients. We also have content in Vietnamese, Chinese, Thai, and Indonesian. With all that said, I want to turn this program back over to our president, Joey Davenport, but I would like to mention just a couple key points as you spend the next several hours with us. Using HPN will immediately improve the quality of meetings held in agency offices. Using HPN will allow home offices to spend more time on execution and less time on developing content. Using HPN will save money by not having to fly speakers in for agency meetings. Using HPN will save thousands of budget dollars in video development. And using HPN will save managers countless hours of teaching agents basics. And by having subject matter experts to explain topics the managers may know little or nothing about. And using HPN will virtually pay for itself many times with as little as one extra sale per month per advisor. So thanks again for being with us. Sit back and enjoy the tour. I know you'll be impressed. Here's Joey. Thank you.
Harry, thanks so much for those thoughts. Appreciate you being here with us and kicking us off. So let me start by walking today's topic specifically of what I plan on addressing. First of all, I mentioned we're going to talk about the latest trends in learning and development. Then I'm going to provide you with an introduction to the HPN University. Specifically, I'm going to provide you with an overview of our content library. We have the most robust and vast digital microlearning content library in the financial services space, and I'm going to give you a good rundown of those various topics. Then I want to talk specifically about learner experience and give you an overview of our learner experience platform and how that in itself helps to drive engagement and the way that we have it organized, and hopefully you'll pick up some ideas and two on that. And then we're going to do a question and answer at the end. So I want to begin with a poll question. What do you think was the #1 challenge for talent developers in 2020? And again, this is according to LinkedIn Learning. It's a workplace learning report for 2020, hot off the press, just came out in this year of COVID. I want you to choose your answers. What do you think was the #1 challenge talent developers in 2020? I'll give you about 10 seconds to answer that. What do you think was the #1 challenge for talent developers in 2020? 10% of you all said creating a culture of learning. 16% said scaling learning across the organization. 45% said increasing employee engagement in learning. And 29% said getting managers to make learning a priority for their team. Very interesting results there that you all brought in. And I'll share with you now what the top 3 challenges were. Those are great responses and across the board. The top 3 challenges in 2020, and by the way, this isn't some report from last year, 2019, that now these results would be different in COVID. This is recently just came out. And so what I wanted to show you was the #3 challenge is increasing employee engagement in learning. 36% of talent developers said that this was, and this was #3, was an issue for them. 42% said creating a culture of learning was an issue for them, 42% of talent developers. And lastly, and by the way, that was the second biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge of 2020, 49% of talent developers saying that getting managers to make learning a priority for their teams. And so we all probably deal a little bit with this, and we're going to unpack each of these individually. But these are the top 3 challenges for 2020. Now let's take a minute and talk about increasing employee engagement in learning, which was the #3 challenge for talent developers. So employee engagement, and we'd say advisor and manager engagement in our particular situation, is incredibly important and incredibly challenging. As a matter of fact, content needs to be relevant to the learner and engaging. You need to make it easier for people to learn. We talk at HPN all the time about removing barriers. One thing you're going to see is we have over 50,000 subscribers to our university. So we're always getting feedback from home office executives in the field, being both advisors and managers, of what would it do to make it more engaging and easier to learn. And so we've removed some of those barriers that you'll see in some of our functionality that we'll talk about a little bit later on. Oops, sorry. And the last thing I would say is you have to have a learner experience and functionality that is simple, all the time we're talking about field friendly. Is it field friendly and easy and simple for them? And so these are the types of things that you have to do to make learning engaging for advisors and managers. Matter of fact, if we look at the top 3 online learning trends for talent developers in 2020, first is micro-learning. What does that mean? Micro-learning is learning in bite-sized pieces, and it makes learning more efficient. Today's modern learner does not have the patience to watch a 15, 20, 30-minute video. And so learning through micro-learning and short bursts of information, let's say 5-minute videos, and it seems like it's getting shorter and shorter, is critical to content, in particular video content. Another online learning trend for this year, just-in-time learning. That's learning that's readily available when and how it's needed by the learner, whether this is mobile and being sure it has responsive design, or the type of learning that it might be, whether it's e-learning or video or whatever it might be. But just-in-time learning is one of the top online learning trends for 2020. And lastly is the employee experience with engaging content. It has to be relevant, simple, engaging, and a great learning experience for it to be engaging. So let's unpack a few of these. When we talk about these online learning trends, in the world of HPN, micro-learning means quick, just-in-time learning means flexible, and experience with engaging content means, of course, engaging. Quick, flexible, and engaging. Let's look at some trends in micro-learning. 4.8 minutes per day. This is the average employee only has time to devote 1% of their working week to development. Imagine that. 75%. The number of today's tech-savvy employees that are more likely to watch a video than to read emails, documents, or read web articles. 60 seconds. 1 minute of video content was found to be equal to about 1.8 million written words for training retention. Think about that. This is according to a Forrester's report. 1 minute of video content was found to be equal to about 1.8 million written words for training retention. That's a huge trend. And 17%, learning in bite-sized pieces makes the transfer of learning from the classroom to the desk 17% more efficient, according to the Journal of Applied Psychology. So again, micro-learning trends, quick and easy. Let's look at mobile trends, flexible. Average person spends 2 hours and 51 minutes on their smartphone each day. The average person looks at their smartphone roughly 221 times per day and touches the screen more than 2,600 times per day. I mean, I know all of y'all can relate to that. And so the point of having responsive design so that it dynamically changes depending on if they're on their smartphone or tablet or desktop is hugely important to create this flexibility in mobile learning. A couple of more that I would throw out here. 46% of learners use mobile learning before they go to sleep at night. I know before I went to bed last night, I wasn't doing mobile learning, but I was looking up and taking some polls and doing a couple things on my phone late night. 46% use mobile learning before they go to sleep at night. 70% of learners, 70%, report improved motivation and increased engagement when learning on a mobile device. And finally, Merrill Lynch had a Go Learn initiative a few years ago. This is a study that showed improvements in learning time of up to 45% faster on mobile devices when compared to desktops. And so when we talk about engaging content, these are some of the main things that we talk about. Now, let's look at the number 2 issue in 2020 that was faced by talent developers, creating a culture of learning. And the thing I like to say here is, I feel like this issue is the link between increasing employee and learner engagement and getting managers to make learning a priority for their teams. All of these are intricately related, if you can imagine. Engagement, culture of learning, getting managers to be more involved in it. So they all kind of combine into creating a culture of learning, which are all their own little issues, but together, they're very much linked together. Now, in our world, in our opinion, this involves onboarding advisors and managers out of the gates and getting them used to learning and doing train the trainers and making sure new onboarding for managers as well as advisors is consistent every single time. Clear communication and organizational alignment. We talk about this a lot, is making sure that down at the regional level, your RVPs or DVPs or AVPs or whatever you might call them, really take ownership in learning, and it's communicated to them new content, new functionality, but also cross-functional department awareness and alignment. So even though most of you are in the learning and development department, there's opportunities with the marketing department or practice management or life insurance and these different cross-functional departments to be engaged with content and learning. It can be ran centrally by you all, but in order to create a culture of learning, it's important that there's alignment throughout the organization in these areas. And we're going to talk more about this in the next general session. Melissa Peck will address some of these things that we've developed to create more of a culture of learning. And the last thing I would say, top-down approach from the home office to the regional level to agency managers or wholesalers. I know we have a number of IMOs and MGAs and carriers on the call. So agency managers or wholesalers and down to the frontline managers. It really needs to be a top-down focus. And again, we're going to look at that here coming up in the next session. Now, let's look specifically, though, at getting managers to make learning a priority for their teams. And I know a number of you, I think that was the second biggest issue that we saw from you all that voted earlier. Let's participate in our next poll. And the next poll question is this. What percentage of employees said they would spend time learning if their manager told them to complete a specific course to improve on or gain a new skill? And so the polling is open now. If you could, just choose an answer there. We'll give you about 10 seconds for y'all to respond. What percentage of employees said they would spend more time learning if their manager told them to complete a specific course to improve on or gain a new skill? I'll give you about 5 more seconds to vote there. Is it 28%, 42%, 56, or 71? Good, you guys are very engaged. I really appreciate that. And here's the results from our group here today. 6% of you said 28%, 9% said 42%, 39% said 56%, and 45% of you said 71%. And let me stop these results. Good, I appreciate the engagement from all of you in here. Let me give you the answer here. Oh, hey, there we go. Whole question. Employees will engage with learning if asked by their manager. As a matter of fact, 56% of employees said they would spend more time learning if their manager told them to complete a specific course to improve on or gain a skill. 2/3 of employees said that they would be more motivated to learn if their direct manager was involved. And so this is a really, really important point. And we've said for 10 plus years at HPN, as it pertains to the university, it is a manager-driven platform. We think that's why it's been so successful in so many organizations. But let's face it, managers have a lot on their plate. So we have to keep it simple and turnkey. I know that word turnkey gets to be trite out there in the space, but it's really true, especially when you have busy field leaders who are having to recruit and select and develop and supervise, and now they have compliance and all these different things on their plate. Training and development, in order to give it shelf space, you have to keep it very simple and turnkey and make it easy for managers to recommend learning opportunities. 52% of managers say that they would recommend courses based on certain criteria. And so segmenting that so that they know for advisors in the first 6 months or 6 to 12 or 1 to 2 years or whatever it might be, that it's segmented in a way that they know what to recommend based on certain criteria, whether that's tenure, productivity, or whatever it might be. So hopefully you found some of that to be informative. That again, most of that's from the LinkedIn Learning workplace study that just came out here recently. So those are 2021 results, but we got to make content that's engaging. We got to create culture of learning. And finally, we've got to get our managers engaged and make it easy for them. So now let's look at the HPN University. First of all, I'm going to give you a high-level content overview. Then I want to talk a little bit about learner experience. Now, I'm not going to get into the actual platform. I'm going to leave that for the next session. Maury Mahoney from our team is going to get into the specific platform, but she's going to reiterate some of the things that I'm going to share with you today. But just taking a step back, what is the HPN University? First of all, it's the most utilized digital content library in the industry. We have over 50,000 subscribers or members in 25 plus countries. It's field-friendly learner experience. I mentioned that these 50,000 subscribers have given us feedback over the years and saying, hey, this would make us easier to consume content. Managers say this would make it easier for us to enroll people or prescribe certain content. And so we built our learning platform as a learner experience platform that's very field-friendly. Now, again, our platform most of the time gets integrated into your learning management system. And so it just makes your learning management system more powerful by being able to leverage our content and a little bit of our functionality. I'm going to share with you specifically later on turnkey manager tools that we've developed for training and coaching to make that process easier. And also we have hundreds of micro-learning videos and courses, 5 minutes in length. It's funny, 12 years ago, 10, 15-minute videos. 5 years ago, 7-minute videos. Today, 5-minute videos on average, and we still hear it's not short enough. And so we're even starting to do courses with 4 videos in them where the videos are 2 minutes each in the courses. So we've evolved and had to evolve based on the modern learner. Now, here's the one thing that I would say is a major differentiator from the HPN University versus other maybe content providers that are out there. We have aggregated content from the best of the best in the financial services industry. And hey, if I could have panelists mute yourself on your end, that would be helpful. Thank you. So half of our content library are experts like that you might see on the screen here today. I've got Mary Beth Kosmeski and Ande Frazier and Brian Moran and Joe Jordan, et cetera. But the other half of the content library, and something we're very proud of, is successful producers, MDRT, core to the table, top of the table producers sharing ideas, concepts, language, et cetera. Now, they are company agnostic. You would not know what company they represent in our platform. But like Troy Korsgaden in the multi-line space, of course, a Selfie Taylor, and a number of others that you'll recognize. And I'm just going to go through this so that slowly you can see a diversity of faculty members. We have over 150 faculty members that we have filmed over these 10 years, and we make sure and identify who is the best of the best in their respective areas. We get bombarded by speakers and recommendations and things, but we have a really tough screening process to make sure we're only serving up the best of the best in here for you. And something that we're very proud of from a content standpoint. Now, let's take a look at the specific content areas that we offer to our clients. First of all, for 10 plus years running, sales skills is by far the #1 most popular, most utilized content. Content on prospecting, phoning, fact-finding, closing, and sales psychology. So for 10 years running plus, sales skills has been the most popular. Marketing content, networking, and not just like basic networking, even advanced networking on creating networking groups and things like that. Social media marketing, target marketing, things like marketing to the affluent, and cross-selling. How do I segment my clients? I'm treating everybody fairly, but not necessarily equally. And then also practice management. Practice management just came into the #2 slot this year. It was always motivation and inspiration behind sales skills, but practice management this year increased. And I think that's because of such a huge focus on team selling, but in particular in 2020, building a digital practice. That's a big hot topic this year. How do I conduct virtual meetings, and how do I build a digital practice and a digital team for the future? And I would just kind of do a quick digression here. A lot of times people think, oh, the university is for new advisors. That couldn't be further from the truth. About half the library is for new advisors. So of course, things like activity management, client building, but the other half is for experienced producers. And I would say, since we have some IMOs and carriers and MGAs on the call, I'd say this to wholesalers, or if you want to call them marketers all the time, is this: if you're still leading with product, you are a dinosaur. Anybody can get product info. Any internal wholesaler can provide that. What producers are looking for is ideas around marketing and practice management and building their business. And so being able to provide access to these with a click of a button is really going to differentiate your brand. Again, whether you're an IMO, an MGA, or at the carrier level. And so I just wanted to make that point. Looking at the additional content areas, product knowledge, we don't teach proprietary product knowledge. I would leave that up to you all to develop the proprietary product knowledge, but we do teach sales concepts and ways to position the need for life, retirement planning, DI, long-term care, and even a multi-line section. I know we have a number of multi-line companies on today. Very proud to have launched that this year, our multi-line section. Motivation, I mentioned, for a decade was the #2 most popular because reps are just getting kicked in the teeth every day. So they want to hear about power of purpose and plug into mental toughness experts, overcoming adversity, and just hear about inspirational stories on the business. And the last thing I would point out is leadership development. We have a very robust content library that features the top managers, recruiters, and coaches on recruiting, selection, training, coaching and accountability, leadership development, and we just launched in 2020 our diversity and inclusion content, and a number of courses from Sandy Eichel to some of the top thought leaders around diversity and inclusion in the space. We're not going to have time even in the next segment or this week to get into leadership development, so I thought I'd spend 1 minute to talk about this. We have digital micro-learning courses on, for example, recruiting. Micro-learning videos and courses on recruiting basics, intermediate and advanced. We also have specific courses by title, building a recruiting culture, recruiting millennials and Gen Next, specific things like that. We also have agency systems assessments. These are based on the industry's best practices around what the top quartile firms are doing out there as far as systems for recruiting and selection, training, and coaching and accountability, and you've got these available in our leadership library. We have our leadership huddle curriculum. This is a 2-year curriculum that's designed to be done in a study group format or in a virtual or a live classroom. We give you programming with classroom training guides so that it's very interactive. It's great if you have a frontline leader development program that you run, whether it's nationwide or down at the local level. We have Firm Foundations, our virtual coach. This is from HPN's Firm Foundations Leadership Development Program. We've developed a 12-week virtual coach that drips out on people. And lastly is Custom Learning Paths. This is a hot topic in the industry. We can work with companies to take your proprietary leadership development resources, see where there's gaps, and see where we might be able to complement some of those. So I did want to mention that. As far as languages, Harry mentioned this at the top of the call. Of course, English, Spanish. I'll talk more about Spanish. We have a large number of participants today in Canada. We do have French-Canadian content. Over 100 micro-learning videos in French-Canadian, skill assessments, Phone Buddy, a couple of other interactive tools I'll show you later. All of those are in French. So for those of you in Canada that need some parity between English and French, well, we have that. And for anyone that's interested here, we have over 150 videos in 5 different Asian languages: Indonesian, traditional Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese, and Malay. And I would like to take a moment just to talk about our Spanish University, which we're so proud of. Between Miguel Taveras and Carlos Perez on our team that's built this together as associate producer, we have over 500 micro-learning videos in our Spanish University. But the thing I'm very proud about is the fact that 90% of those videos are of Latino and Latina producers and experts. So I know we have quite a few people from Latin America on the call today. And so we are very proud of the fact that not only do we have video microlearning content, we have the assessments, we have interactive tools like Phone Buddy, we have different certification courses that are very hot in Latin America right now. And so I would tell you, since we're short on time, that just Miguel at hoopus.com. Many of you will probably know Miguel. He is a thought leader throughout Latin America. Email Miguel at hoopus.com if you'd like to learn more about the Spanish University. But for those of you all that are in the U.S. and Canada, I mean, the Hispanic population in the U.S. is growing extensively, and there's a big opportunity to provide learning and development resources to attract future advisors. And so, if that's something that's of interest to you in Canada or in the United States, you definitely want to talk to us after the fact. But all of you all that are here for Latin America, welcome. And Miguel at hoopus.com to learn more, and very proud of the Spanish University. So here's a next polling question I would ask. What are some of your biggest digital content needs out there? And I'd like for you to choose all that would apply. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Launch the poll. Is it sales skills, marketing, practice management, product knowledge, motivation, leadership development, or other language? What are some of your biggest digital content needs that you see in there, or gaps that you might need to take advantage of? 84% of you said sales skills, 26% marketing, 52% practice management, 26% product knowledge, 29% motivation, 58% leadership development, 6% other languages. Hey, even on that product knowledge, we have a new animated cartoon series called Mo that our team has developed that's on basic financial concepts that we'll be releasing in the next month. So Great cross-section there. As you can see, obviously sales skills is pretty popular, and then practice management and leadership development. So I appreciate you all sharing there. So I'd like to transition from content, and I'm going to quickly go through this just because Maureen is going to go in more depth in the next section with all of you. When you log into the university, first of all, finding content. Something I would share with you. In the upper left, you might see my little highlight in the upper left, the little navigation bar. If you click on the navigation bar, you will see that this pulls down all of those topics I just mentioned: sales skills, marketing, product knowledge, etc. But if I drill down into sales skills and I look at the subtopics, let's say prospecting, now I can get to either the linear courses, 101, 201, etc., or by topic. So in this instance, I'm highlighting here is leveraging technology for prospecting. And when Maureen goes in and shows you this just in the next session, the beauty here is you've never left the dashboard and able to be able to find content. See, we don't want advisors or managers to go down a wormhole in the field and they get lost and frustrated. So part of the user experience is making it very easy to find content without ever having left the dashboard. So that's easy to navigate and find that content. You see in the upper right-hand corner, we have a search function that's incredibly robust because we take an inordinate amount of time of tagging all of our content so that you can easily find it. Now, one of our big things that you'll hear about later is enrolled courses. And on your dashboard, you see it just highlighted, advisors have the ability to enroll themselves in courses, or managers or the home office can enroll them with a click of a button. And so you can see when I go into a course, this is a new course we have on working remotely and staying productive. And so right here in the red tab, it says enroll or enroll others. So managers or home office can just click enroll others. It pops up on the back end with, let's say, their agency, or maybe if it's an RVP, their region. And so I can identify, or my staff can identify specific people to enroll. In my organization, I click the enroll button. And the beauty here is it shows up on my dashboard, and I receive an email notification that lets me know my manager has enrolled me in this course. And when I click on that link, it's going to bypass the login screen and pull me into that particular video. And then I'm going to get email reminders to continue to pull me into the platform. Second thing we can do on the dashboard is featured content. And Maureen's going to go in depth to this in the next session. Harry mentioned new videos. We publish new videos every month for 12 years now, almost 11 and a half years. That's a big job, but something we're very proud of. So there's always new content being published. It's always 5 videos, 2 of producers, 2 of experts, and 1 on leadership development. Maureen's going to get into Content Navigator. This is a tool we developed this year. So whether you're an advisor or manager and you get into the university and you say, where the heck do I begin? We will walk you down a path by asking a series of questions. Are you an advisor or manager? Are you a new advisor in the first 3 years or 3+ years? And based on their interests and preferences, we will direct them to specific content based on tenure, based on role, etc. So Maureen's going to show you that Content Navigator, something we're very proud of. And we have a lot of curated content. So I'm highlighting greatest hits. We have greatest hits for 3-year and under advisors and 3-year and over advisors. And these are basically our top 10 highest rated and most popular videos by topic. So if you say, hey, what's the best of the best HPN University's got? Boom, we've curated them right here so you can get in there and easily consume that content. And lastly, you can save content. Think of this as like your iTunes playlist. So I can save it here to my dashboard. We're big believers that repetition is the mother of skill. So if I find a video that's got a lot of great language, I can come back here and visit it later on. Our micro-learning video player, just want to quickly point this out. You can rate videos on a 5-star scale and see the average rating that's been given. If you click this heart icon, it will save it to your dashboard to revisit later. You can see this video of a selfie tailor is 2 minutes and 17 seconds, so short and sweet, but chock full of nuggets, I guarantee you. So anything from a selfie is going to have full of language and nuggets in there. And you can see the progress bar from 0 to 100%. That's important because in reporting, which I'm not going to get into today, it's very robust on the back end so that you can run a transcript for advisors to see all the videos they have viewed, and from 0 to 100%, what percentage have they completed. The other cool thing is if I watch half this video and I leave for 2 days and I come back and hit play, it will resume where I left off. And I've talked a lot about video. It's not just video in the university. We have a lot of different tools for development. I mentioned the skill assessments. I talked about systems assessments for leadership. we have skill assessments based on best practices of top advisors in the industry. So skill assessments for prospecting, listening, fact finding, and closing. With interactive tools like Phone Buddy and Prospecting Buddy, you can see on the screen, this is our most used tool beyond any videos that we have. The most used tool we have is Phone Buddy, which is the top 8 phoning objections that you're likely to receive when doing your daily dials. And when I click on the objection, it gives me language to use right on the spot. So we have hundreds of advisors a day that use this as kind of a crib sheet. For you old schoolers on the call, you remember up in your cube, you used to have the index cards. We just do this digitally now, and it's heavily used. So interactive tools like Phone Buddy, Prospecting Buddy, and e-learning knowledge check, so it's not just video content. And I just want to reiterate, because of that #1 issue that talent developers mentioned, is getting managers involved and making it easy for managers. Turnkey Tools and Resources, they have the ability to enroll courses with the click of a button. They have the ability to run quick reports for accountability. And again, this could be the home office at the regional level, the manager level, or frontline leader level. Coaching guides to use with our learning paths that tell coaches exactly the questions to ask and exactly the things to say in those sessions. Those skill assessments I just showed you, and then classroom training resources. Maureen is going to go into this in the next segment, next general session. We have turnkey on-demand resources out of the box to provide your managers with weekly programming, or however often they would need it, to take a tremendous amount of the prep work off of their shoulders. And we have a number of resources to onboard field leaders and make sure they understand these tools and how to use them. We have a manager certification program where we have over 3,000 managers that have been certified. There's a direct correlation between managers that are certified and the level of usage and adoption in an organization. And in the next month, we're rolling out our digital learning leader certification. This is a certification that walks them through the 12 different best practices of how to leverage the university. They do interactive quizzes in between. There's a capstone, and they receive their certification in digital learning leaders. That's a great way to recruit people by having that on their LinkedIn profile or whatever, to say, look, we provide you access to digital micro-learning resources to get you off to a fast start, et cetera. So being a digital learning leader is a great thing to be. How much time does L&D spend on the following activities? 29% on building or sourcing learning programs and content, 17% on building and delivering compliance training, 16% promoting learning programs to employees. So the bottom line is, it's a big job to create content, and especially to create engaging content that is used by your managers and easy to use. I just want to ask one question here, do a quick poll, because I know we're a little bit behind. How much does it cost to produce a 5-minute micro-learning video? How much does it cost, do you think, to produce a 5-minute micro-learning video? And I'm going to launch the poll here. $1,000 to $2,000, $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 to $5,000, or $6,000 to $7,000? You guys are in the space, so a number of you all are probably aware and know. I'll give you another 5 seconds. You guys are getting quick on this polling now. I appreciate it. Very good. By the way, we've had 80% response or above on all of these. So here's the results that you all said. 50% of you said $4,000 to $5,000 on that. The rest of you all said 20% 1 to 2, 23 2 to 3, and then 7% said 6 to 7. So I'm going to take this down, and I'm going to share with you the industry average is $800 to $1,000 to produce 1 minute of video. So if we talk about a 5-minute micro-learning video, the cost is between $4,000 and $5,000. Most of you had hit it right on the money. So you've probably looked into this, I would imagine. We have almost 1,000 micro-learning videos on our platform. That would be $4 to $5 million investment that you'd have to make to replicate that, and to go out and get licensing agreements from all these industry experts, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm here to let you know is you can leverage us for a fraction of the cost of that. We're happy to discuss that further with you. We've already done a lot of the heavy work for you. And I'll just end with these 3 things. This point. There's 3 ways that corporations source digital content. One is you can build it. All right. You can decide we're going to build all of our content. And I would say for proprietary things like product and process and compliance, you definitely should build those things. But there's no reason that you should have to build everything, especially at a time when you're asked to do more with less. And we're in a zero interest rate environment where we're getting costs cut left and right. You have to find ways to leverage and make sure that your investment, so that if you do decide to buy it, creates tremendous leverage and is going to save you and your team enough time and energy and resources of it that it makes sense to leverage a third-party digital content provider. And most of our clients build certain things and recognize what they don't need to build, and that it's more cost-effective to leverage a company like the HPN University and go out and license that content so they can focus on execution. And the third way is bid it. This is not as common in our space, but literally going to hire a third-party training and development company that would completely build a custom training program for you. But in our space, it's build it or buy it is what we see. And so we can make a good case on why you should build a certain amount of your training and development content, but why you should buy it, some of that from us and license content for us for a fraction of it. And so the last thing I would say is I want to be very cognizant of our time. I can stick around and take questions after the fact, but I know we need to take a break. And I would just say this, info@hoopus.com. Email us at info@hoopus.com if you want to schedule a consultation with us to discuss this further, or if you have any questions, because again, I want to be cognizant of our timing today. If there's any questions that you have on this first general session, if you could email us at info@hoopus.com, we will respond to all of your questions. Now, keep in mind, the next segment, we're going to talk about creating engaging learning in your learning management system. We're going to do a deeper dive into the platform itself and talk about some of these strategies we have to create a culture of learning. And then on Thursday, we're going to go deeper dive into implementing and executing. So some of your questions might be coming and getting answered in the future there. But I will stick around if you have any. Otherwise, what we're going to do is take a break. It's 48 that I have, so we're going to be able to take about a 12-minute break, and we'll come back at the top of the hour so that Melissa and Maureen can get into how to create engaging content in your learning management system. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us here today. We're so excited you're part of the virtual campus tour, and we'll talk to you in about 15 minutes.